Hi everyone, it's me Zeros. Before I start, thank you all for the 5,000 subscribers. I was literally at 2,000 subscribers about 3 weeks ago, so as you can tell, I'm changing up my commentary setup. I kept hearing your complaints about muffling and I decided to get some art and record on a good microphone so that you can all hear me properly. I will keep doing videos in fursuit, but I just need to find some time to do that. I currently live with roommates and I don't have much space, so I cannot do fursuit videos until I am on break from college, which rarely happens. I also mentioned in the previous video that I was going to record 2 videos and release the second one a month later. Well, I scrapped that second video and I'm just going to make this one. Fun fact, the video that I recorded is actually this video. I have it all recorded, but I went 10 seconds into the video and said, yeah, this is going to be too difficult to understand because I was recording it in my fursuit. So today I'm going to be talking to you all about Furry Fandom. So here I am, sitting in a quiet room without a fursuit, and I'm going to be discussing you all my experience and review about the Furry Fandom. I'm not going to talk about what happened since day 1 of being in the Furry Fandom, but I'm going to broadly go over all the experiences that I've had and how it impacts me today, which is why I want to make this video. Ever since I've been monetized on YouTube 2 weeks ago, I've been finding some more motivation to do videos. I don't want to keep doing these call-out videos against businesses, I just wanted to make them because I wanted to warn people. I admit I was a little harsh with Buttsies, so I joined their commission raffle and I'm waiting to hear if I can get a commission or not. Since several of you decided to not read my pinned comment on that video and post a hateful comment directly towards me, let me say this now. I'm giving Buttsies a second chance. I didn't have enough artwork to provide a plush-friendly reference for Buttsies, and I even admitted that in my previous video, that I didn't provide them with enough art. I do know that I had some more art at the time. This is right when I joined the Furry Fandom, so I did have some more art, but I think I only had like 1 or 2 pieces, so I guess the fault was a little on my side, but then again, I did give them a very detailed description. So this is what's going to be for the next reference photo. It's feral, which is what they really work with when it comes to these specialty commissions. They have more people doing these plushies now, so I'm sure they're better now than they were a few years ago. Okay, enough of me ranting. I know this is going to be kind of a long video already, so I'm just going to dive right in. I first started being a part of the Furry Fandom in June of 2017. I seriously wasn't persuaded because of the art, the personas, anything like that. I simply looked around, saw the Furry Fandom, and decided, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm going to be a part of it, and I think that people are really going to like me. There were several hobbies that people had in the Furry Fandom, and I felt like picking some of them up once I joined. One of them I already knew what to do was making YouTube videos. I knew what furries were already, and I didn't have a bad impression of them. The first time that I interacted with people in the Furry Fandom was pleasant. Everybody was outgoing when I talked to them, everybody was very welcoming when I joined, and when I joined my first group chat, I felt like I was cared for and supported by others. They would always compliment my persona, they would compliment my personality and more. Before I joined, I made Zeros. And I also realized this until I started to make YouTube videos. I realized that I'm pronouncing my persona's name wrong. It's Zaros instead of Zeros, because you know, the RuneScape god. But besides that, let me get back to my point here. So this was my very first reference sheet that I got of Zeros. As you can tell, I screwed up something super big with the reference sheet. It's shaded and it's not flat color. This caused issues later on when I got the art later. But it didn't matter because I got a few flat color commissions like these as you can see on the screen, and I'm still pleased with how the colors look on Z. Anyways, that's my first impression of the fandom. It was very relaxing, and I didn't encounter any hate towards me for being a furry outside of the fandom. It was all great. As I started to meet more and more furries, I realized something really big. There are lots of divisions in the fandom. The biggest one are suitors and non-suitors. I bought my first fursuit when I was 2 months into the fandom, which, I admit, I rushed the hell out of getting a fursuit. I didn't have enough time to tell whether I was going to like the fandom or not. But either way, when I got my fursuit, that basically locked me into the fandom, and I thought to myself, since I have a huge investment put into the Furry Fandom, there's no way that I'm going to leave it unless something really bad happens to me. If you follow me on Twitter, you may notice that I made a few tweets saying that non-suitors are still furries and to give them lots of love. That was actually my most popular tweet on Twitter, and that is true. When I look at non-suitors, I want them to be as welcomed as I was welcomed when I joined the Furry Fandom. There are lots of folks who own fursuits, and when they turn sectionalized and only speak to those people who have a fursuit, that's like the rich kid club in the fandom. On to my next topic. I want to talk about the hatred in the fandom. There's more harassment inside of the fandom than outside of the fandom. What I mean by that is I witnessed furries getting cyberbullied by other furries, mainly kink shamers. No, but seriously, I witnessed a lot of furries get bullied in the fandom. I'm not going to point fingers at anyone, but I just want to mention that if you're in the mindset that if you're a popular furry and you don't get bullied, then that's completely wrong. Based on my experience, although I don't consider myself popular, the more followers that you have means that you're a bigger target for bullying. That's why I avoid controversy whenever I talk, because all it takes is one slip up and then your entire internet fame goes down the drain. I'm sure that if you've been in the fandom for a while, you've witnessed this happen, aka zoophilia. If I had to put a number into how many times that I'd say I have been harassed in the fandom, I would probably say 40 to 50 times within the past 2.5 years. I obviously didn't let it get to me, and look at where I'm at now. I'm happy with life, I have plenty of amazing people to make a video for, and I genuinely appreciate everyone's support with what I say or do on YouTube and Twitter. Another thing that I want to discuss would be the creativity and the price point. I'm kind of putting 2 in 1 for this point, but they go paw and paw, and you'll see why in a moment. The furry fandom is focused on self-expression. There are many furries out there who get a ton of art, and they also like to express it via roleplay. I, myself, do roleplay as well, but not everybody's comfortable with it, and I respect that. I mentioned in my How My Parents Found Out That I'm a Furry video that I like to think of the furry fandom being an MMO game. You create a character, then you get placed in a large world full of other people's characters, then you roleplay it out, you get to meet new friends, meet up, play games together, etc. Ever since I joined the furry fandom, I picked up several new hobbies. A few of them are making artwork, making animations, making video games, doing music development, doing more YouTube videos, and more. As I mentioned earlier, I did YouTube videos, but now since I have an audience, it motivated me to keep doing them. Now going back to the creativity aspect, if you look at everyone's art, they're all made by either themselves or some other wonderful artists in the furry fandom. However, artwork can be expensive, to the point where I've met some artists that do this stuff as a full-time job, which, kudos to them. I would never be able to find a fun hobby to do for a decent paying job. Unfortunately, it's easy to lose track of how much money that's spent in the furry fandom. I own 1, almost 2 fursuits, and I own 3, almost 4 latex suits. Put roughly 25 to 30 pieces of art onto that, and then you get thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Easily enough to pay for 2 semesters of college at the university that I go to. I don't want to say how much that I spent on the fandom, because I don't want you all to know how much money that I spent on this stuff. The last thing that I want to mention, which is a very big topic, is that it helps me discover my sexuality. When I joined the fandom at first, I was questioning my sexuality. If I had to choose whether I wanted to date men, women, or both, I would say neither. I dedicated myself to equilosexuality, which basically meant that I was asexual, but I still had intentions of having sex with others. With women, however, because I didn't consider myself to be gay, because I didn't want the embarrassment by telling my parents. But a few months after being in the fandom, I considered myself bicurious because I still had intentions of wanting to be with a woman. Mainly because if I felt like if I came out as bisexual, it wouldn't have as much backlash from my parents if I said that I liked men and women. But recently, I came out as gay on Twitter. I realized that I was kind of hiding my real sexuality just to hide it from my parents. I know that my parents support gays, so there's no point in hiding it. I still haven't come out of the closet yet, but I feel happy with who I am today. Even though I were to leave the furry fandom, I would still be attracted to men, and I want to thank the furry fandom for that, as I didn't expect so much support from everyone when I am part of the fandom. Anyways, I wanted to wrap it up with some closing thoughts. This is probably the most review-like portion of the video, because I want to sum up the fandom in my opinion. Based on my experience within the past 2.5 years, the fandom obviously isn't for everyone, but it's definitely one of the most accepting fandoms that I've seen out there. I say that it's not for everyone because several people are just generally creeped out by people pretending to be animals. I'm sure that you know that because of how hated that furries can be. It's also not really for everyone because of the price tag that the fandom has. Not everyone needs art, but lots of furries feel like that they need it in order to become a furry, which I don't blame them for. But it's not what being a furry is all about. Being a furry is about creativity, and I've seen some people make a persona on the spot and they roleplay with it. Although I've been rambling the whole video, there are still many things to talk about, but the fandom is generally a very great place to be a part of. There are many group chats and sub-communities that you can be a part of in the fandom, as I would say that 9 out of 10 of the furries that I meet aren't sectionalized, so they're always open to meeting others and it's always fun to talk to them. But much like everything else in fandoms, there's toxicity. The furry fandom can get super bad with it. I don't know why, because it's just something that we can't really explain, unless you have a master's in sociology and you have time on researching it. I'm over-exaggerating. There's probably a simple reason, but I'm looking over it. There's plenty of creativity in the fandom, The furry fandom is like a canvas, with every fursona being a paint stroke that draws onto it. Every fursona is created differently, and I don't know of many fursonas that have the same design. Many fursonas have the same color scheme, but in reality, every fursona has a different personality, which makes the fandom so vast and fun to be a part of. I have personally been through a lot in the fandom, but I don't let it discourage me. I changed so much since I joined the fandom, and if I were to ask someone in a group chat, I'm sure that many people would say the same thing. Actually, I did do that. I hosted a survey in a group chat that I host, and these are the results. It looks like out of 29 votes, there were 86 people who said yes and 14% who said no. The fandom helped me a lot with social anxiety, and it helped me build new social skills that I utilize in real life. Like when I'm in class, I know how to start a conversation with someone better, and it's likely due to the furry fandom helping me being able to speak more confidently and without hesitation. If I had to give a final rating about the furry fandom, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. You've all heard of my experience, and I mentioned that there's always some good things and some bad things about any fandom. Not every fandom can be perfect, which is why I couldn't give a 10 out of 10 for the fandom. There are many great folks out there, and there's especially a lot of creative things to see. There's also a lot of fun things to do, like going to conventions or being in group chats. Most importantly, it's the positive and accepting community that welcomes everyone who joins it, whether they're young, old, male, female, another gender, tall, short, you get it. The foul things about being in the fandom would mainly be the toxicity, which I won't go any more in depth with because I'm sure that many of you have already experienced it, and if you haven't experienced it, then just know that there will be furries that will always support you as long as you're open and liberal with them. Not many people say what I'm about to say. Not many regular YouTubers, and especially not many furry YouTubers. But I wanted to thank you all for your support that you have given me. The furry fandom is obviously a very open fandom, but without all of your support, I can't thank you all enough for being a part of my audience, because it encourages me to make videos like these. The past 2 videos have been somewhat negatively vibed, and I wanted to make this video to make sure that you all don't have the wrong mindset about me. I've never had this much success coming off of something on the internet. I was debating on opening a Ko-fi account, which I did, but I never released it to the public because I didn't want to seem too greedy and ask for donations. As you can tell, I purchased many things out of pocket, and I spent a lot of time and effort making these videos for all of your entertainment. Now that I'm officially monetized on YouTube, I wanted to thank you all for your support just by subscribing and watching my videos. Even if you use ad blockers, I do appreciate that you made it all the way to the end of the video and stood through it with me the entire time. But I genuinely appreciate all of your support on here and Twitter. If you aren't following me on Twitter, feel free to check it out at ZerosTheFurry. I post a lot of stuff like what I mentioned in this video, as well as cute fursuit photos and some other things that happen in life, so feel free to check it out there. Thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you in the next video. See ya.